Good morning, lovely people, and always very lovely to see you. Welcome to your yoga mat this morning. Now, take a comfortable seat somewhere on the mat or on a chair, however you want to. Once you're there, bringing the hands down, and you can rest them on the knees or just in the lap. If you are resting them on the knees, then you can use that as a little lever just to draw up through your spine. Now, once you're there, finding a lift through the spine, we'll take the shoulders up to the ears and really draw them up so you lose your neck here. Take a deep in breath and then out breath, allowing your shoulders to lightly, gently release downwards. Breathing out a little bit deeper to see if there's anything left to give within the shoulders. And we'll do the same again. Another in-breath. Just pausing there with the shoulders lifted for as long as feels comfortable. And when you're ready to breathe out, letting the shoulders go with the out-breath. We'll do that again. One more round. Now bring your right hand down to the floor, just by the side of the body. In breath, bring your left arm up, taking it over. Keep that long line from the left hip all the way up into the left fingertips. It's like you're reaching up and into the body. We'll take a couple of breaths there. And for the last breath or so, you can turn your gaze up towards the ceiling, allowing the chest to lift up. Left arm coming down, plant it down, and breathing in, the right arm will lift up. We'll take it over and we'll take a few breaths here, just stretching up and into the fingertips. And the last breath, you can take your gaze up to the ceiling. Right arm coming down. Now hands behind your body, fingertips either away or towards you, really doesn't matter. Just shrug your shoulders out a couple of times. Join shoulder blades together. And then we'll pause here, squeezing the shoulder blades together, so you're drawing the shoulders back. Root down into your sit bones here and lift up into the spine. Your next round, arms coming forward. And now we're going to walk the fingertips forward. So keep a bit of bend through your elbows here. And you may bring the forearms down to the floor, or they'll stay up on the fingertips. Look forward, breathe in. And breathing out, we'll just allow the head to drop between the shoulders. Lift up to fingertips and we'll slide the fingers in. Now take your knees together now And we'll stretch out the feet out in front of you, down to the floor. Now breathing in, we'll lift the right knee up and into the chest. As you do so, really stretch out the toes of the left foot along the mat. Then taking your fingers underneath the right thigh, interlacing them. Breathing out, we stretch out that right foot and hover it just off the floor in front of you. See if you can anchor the weight of the body down. For your next in-breath, draw the right knee in. And we bring the fingers now around the front of the shin and hug it in a little bit more fully, that right knee. Another out breath, and we'll let go of the fingers there, take them behind the thigh again. Stretch out the right foot, hover it just off the floor. See if you can lift up into your spine at the same time. And we'll plant the right foot down. An in-breath, drawing the left knee in towards the core. A few breaths here to draw up into the spine. And then, taking the fingers behind the back of the thigh, stretch out the left foot. Take a moment or so just to root downwards, lift up through the spine. Left foot lightly lifted, and we'll draw it back in again. Taking it back out. Left foot coming down. Hands out to the sides of the body now. Toes flexed up towards you. Draw up into the spine. Feel your sit bones anchored. With an in-breath, we'll lift the air up with both hands, breathing in. Fingertips can lightly touch. Breathing out, fingertips will turn downwards and they arrive back on the mat. As you do this, keep the toes as flexed as you can up to the ceiling. Another in-breath, looking up, the arms will lift. And your fingertips are going to join together above the head. And breathing out, you'll start to let your arms float down and fingertips will land on the floor, either sides of the body. We'll do that again. See if you can feel your way to connect the fingertips with one another above the head. And out breath, coming back down. One more round. And arriving from there, you bring the feet up towards you and then tip yourself forward, hands in front of you now. And slowly from here, we'll start to lift up into a forward fold. Now you can keep your knees bent. You slide the hands back in. Give yourself a few breaths now to relax the spine down the length of the legs. And letting your arms hang in front of you, start to roll your spine up and you're arriving into standing. So you're coming onto your mat, feet hips width apart from one another. The big in-breath, the arms will float up above the head And again, we're going to connect the fingertips above the head, feeling their way towards one another. Out breath, we're going to take the arms into a V shape and the gaze will look up. Couple of big in breaths here, reaching up away from the feet. And then swallow dive your way down and into a forward fold, breathing out, arriving there. Now bending both knees, see if you can almost flatten your belly along the front of the thighs. And then we'll take the gaze over to the right hand side, towards the right shoulder. Your next breath, we're going to take the gaze over to the left hand side. And with both knees still bent, start to lift up into chair. The arms will float up. Again, we connect the fingertips above the head. And out breath, press down into your feet and bring the hands back to the heart. And in breath, arms will float up either sides of the body. Your palms are facing down here. Now, once you arrive, we're going to do little circles with the arms, backwards direction. Now make sure your arms don't float forward here if you can. Draw them back so they're almost behind the body. And as you breathe out, accentuate the drawing in of the belly towards the base of the spine. Fingertips turning up, and take your circle the opposite way, still accentuating belly to spine on the out breath. And then the arms will float down to the sides of the body. Taking hands up to the shoulders, in breath, elbows together, breathing in, big circle up the center line and back behind you, breathing out. When shaking the arms down, shake out into the fingertips. Now take your feet a little bit wider apart from one another now. Breathing in, we'll swing the arms over to the right. As you do so, you'll lift up your left heel. So coming to the other side, the arms will swing over and you'll lift up your right heel. So you're going to do that for a few rounds. Arms swinging, really connect to the body. And you're lifting up opposite heel to which you're actually turning. And you can lift the arms up and then drop them down. whatever feels right for your body. Just noting where there is tension pockets and just letting arms flow into that. And then we bring arms back to the center line. So an in-breath, palms coming to the chest. And breathing in, we're going to drop down onto the knees, arms out in front of you. And your palms are going to come shoulder width apart, out in front of you. Sink a bit lower. And in breath, the palms will lift up over the head. Out breath, take the palms down and into forward fold. Keep the palms facing one another as you do so this time. And arriving in forward fold. Now bend your knees, lift the arms up, palms are facing one another to shoulder height. Just pause there, sink a bit lower. And another in-breath, lifting them all the way up over the head. Out breath, flowing down into forward fold. Another in-breath, come up to shoulder height with the arms. Settle there for a moment. Another in-breath, lifting the arms the whole way up. Palms still connecting towards one another, not actually touching, but just feel that kind of connection between the two arms. This time as you breathe out, you're going to swing the arms down and out behind you into a ski jump. Breathing in and out breath, swinging them down, out behind you. Start to take them up again to shoulder height. Keep the palms working together. Pausing there. One more round of breath. Another in-breath, there lift up. Next out breath, swinging them out behind you into ski jump. Breathing in and out breath. One more. Lifting them up. One more in breath and into ski jump. Then you can take your hands down to the floor, arriving into a forward fold and straightening up through the legs. Turning to the top of your mat, you're not there. Breathing in, offering your spine forward, lengthen it out. And out breath, palms coming down to the floor. We'll step back into down dog. And put a bit of bend into your knees in your down dog to draw your sit bones up and back. And making sure your forearms are framing your ears. Hold the shape another couple of breaths. And then coming up and over into a plane, follow the movement through your sit bones. Start to lift up and forward with the sit bones. Take your gaze forward. Lovely. Now ease back into your heels here, another breath. And breathing out, you'll lower the body down to the floor. You're arriving on the belly here, hands underneath the shoulders. In breath into a small cobra. out breath, start to release down. Another in breath into small cobra. An out breath, easing back, melting heart. Sit bones come high, the arms stretch out and forward, and the head will fall beneath the shoulder, between the shoulders. We're going to come forward now onto the belly. A bit like a caterpillar, the sit bones will remain high as you start to move forward. Weight coming onto the arms and lowering down to the belly. We're going to do a couple of rounds now in and out of cobra, breathing our way in, coming down with the out breath. Another in breath in. And this time, after the in breath into your cobra, we'll then come back into melting heart again. So breathing into cobra and out breath, all fours. Pelvis stacks above the knees as you stretch out through the spine. And the head arrives between the forearms. Starting to walk your way back to the heels, walk the hands back in. Your arms are now out in front of you. You're going to turn your palms to face one another now. Now drawing into your core, you're going to start to lift up onto the knees and your arms are going to follow up, palms facing each other all the way up onto high knees. Once you're there, let your arms float over together to the right hand side. Now stretching out through that right arm, almost like you're lifting a plate on the right palm. Take the arms up to the center line, keep the palms working together. Take the arms to the left hand side. And this time you're reaching out through the left arm as if you've got a plate balanced on the palm. Both palms coming up to the center line here. Breathing out, we'll take the hands down to the shoulders, elbows to the sides. And you can touch your shoulders there with the fingertips. And we'll take a couple of little circles through the shoulder blades. Now take a few other circles the opposite way. And then, in-breath, palms are going to come above the head. Again, find the connection as you lift up through the hands between both palms as you lift. Breathing in, look up. And out breath, the whole spine working together, arms are part of that. Drawing pelvis back to heels. And arms floating down to the floor. As you arrive in child, we'll take a couple more rounds of breath, feeling the entire length of the spine here. Now, keeping this connection, the arms are part of the spine. We come up onto all fours. And once there, breathing in, you'll allow your spine to come into cat and cow. But just note, as you move in cat and cow, how the arms, as well as the legs, but just focusing in on the arms a little bit here, are supporting your spine. As weight transfers down into the arms and the palms, it's giving your spine freedom to move. Take another 5 rounds of breath here. And then arriving up and on the knees. So you use your arms here together to lift up. And you're arriving up on the knees now, arms up above the head. And we'll take the left foot out to the side of the body. Now angle your pelvis so it's facing forward here. In breath, both arms will float over to the left. Again, you'll get that feeling of lifting a plate on the left palm. Then we're going to take the arms up to the center line and we'll take the hands down onto all fours. Left knee will come up to the core and you're going to draw it into the core, looking down at it. Next round of breath. Left knee is going to stretch out the left leg out behind you and the right arm is going to lift up off the floor. Now breathe from that left foot all the way along the left leg, out through the trunk of the body and into the right hand. Right hand comes down and the left knee comes down to the mat. And in breath, both palms will lift up together, taking you up onto the knees again. And once you're there, the right foot will come out to the side of the body. Anchor the right foot down, toes pointing forward. Arms will float over to the right hand side of the body. Now make sure you're not kind of angling the spine so it's turning round. Keep your pelvis nice and level here. Again, you'll feel that sense of lifting something on the right palm. Next round of breath. Arms both coming up to the center line. And as the arms come down to the floor now, we'll then bring the right knee into the core, looking down at it. Now give yourself a couple of breaths here more. Then when you're ready to stretch out, the right leg will stretch out along with the left arm. And arriving, couple of breaths here, breathing all the way along the length of the body, from right foot along the right leg. through the core, out through the left arm, into left fingertips. And with your next breath, left hand comes down, right knee. Now just let your pelvis sway a little bit from side to side. You can take it into figure of eights here, just easing out a little bit. And then turning to the top of your mat, if you're not already there, going to tip ourselves up into Uttanasana, so tucking under the toes. Start to walk the hands back in a little bit, the knees will lift. And walking the hands in towards feet. You'll arrive up and down in Uttanasana, stretching out through the length of spine. Coming to rise, arms are going to float up along the centre line, both palms facing one another. Put a bit of bend into the knees to support the spine. And out breath, arriving back into heart. We'll come up to the top of the mat, you're not there. Feet hips width apart, hands at the heart. With the in-breath, both palms will float up the centre line. Hold the connection between the palms here. Breathe in. Out breath, guiding palms down into forward fold. In breath, fingertips to the floor, offer the spine forward. And out breath, palms coming down, and we'll step back into down dog. Let the head nestle between the upper arms here in your down dog. And feeling both hands planted equally on your mat, we'll take the pelvis up and forwards into plank, breathing in, arriving back. Keep your belly lifted, another couple of breaths in plank. And with your next out breath, we'll lower the body down to the floor. An in-breath, arriving into Cobra. An out-breath, back and into Down Dog. Big circles with the knees now in turn. We'll start with the right knee, drawing it up into the core. Take it over to the left side. Take it out to the right, up behind you, back in, just kind of carving your way around the left leg with your circle. And the right foot will come down to the floor. Coming onto the left leg, lifting up the left knee, we'll then take it into the core, comes to the right hand side, over to the left, out around behind you, over to the right, and arriving back to the right hand side. Take a couple more rounds with the left knee. And dropping left leg down to the floor. Breathe in, looking forward, feel both hands on the mat. And out breath, coming up to the top of the mat. In breath, arms will come out behind you, bending the knees, you're arriving back in your ski jump. And on an in-breath, both palms will face one another as you lift up into standing, arms above the head, keeping chair pose, knees bent here. And out breath, pressing down into feet, hands arriving back at the heart. Arms dropping to the sides of the body. Breathing in, we're going to take them up along the center line, up above the head. And as we do so, we'll lift the heels up off the floor at the same time. So in breath. And into out breath, heels, arms coming back down. Another in breath. And into out. Couple more times. Another in breath. Bringing the arms up over the head and the heels will lift again. Just pausing there. Even though your palms aren't touching here, feeling connection between them. Feeling the space between them. Next round of breath, we'll bring fingertips together. And out breath, the palms will float down by the sides of the body and your heels will come down to the floor. In breath, taking the arms up in front of you above the head. And breathing out, we're going to fold forward into forward fold, arms down the center line. In breath, off the spine forward. And out breath, back into down dog. In breath, easing forward into your plank. And out breath down to the floor. In breath, cobra. And out breath back into melting heart again. Pelvis above the knees, arms stretched out in front of you. And we bring the arms forward. So you're going to tuck under your toes again. And again, we're going to ease back towards the heels. Now you're going to walk your feet forward, up towards hands. And once you're there, planting your hands down in front of you. A little bend through the elbows. You'll feel very squat here. The belly will be more or less on the thighs. Looking forward. Tipping weight. Bringing your knees underneath your armpits as close as you can there. And tipping weight forward onto the hands. Now the knees will be kind of underneath the armpits, and you want the knees to be close up to the top of the arms, up towards armpits as you can. You just tip the weight forward onto the hands. One more. And then planting the heels down. We'll take a big circle through the arms this time, lifting all the way up into standing. Arms above the head. And out breath, the palms will float down and back into the heart. Another in-breath, arms coming out behind the body. Breathe out there. An in-breath, both palms will float up in front of you. An out breath, we're going to take the hands down into forward fold. They arrive on the mat a little distance in front of you. You will bend your knees again. Because again, you'll connect your your armpits with your knees. And you'll tip weight forward. Now looking between your hands, tipping the weight forward. And you may find you can tip the weight forward enough. You get a little bit of lift up onto the balls of the toes. From there, you may be able to lift up the feet off the floor, heels coming together. Another practice point here, another practice stage, lifting each foot and turn. So lift the right foot up, lift the left foot up. You can kind of go forwards and back, just a few breaths more, just to kind of explore this a little bit further. Just seeing how it feels to come right up on the balls of the feet. From there, you may find you can find the balance point. And the heels will come down. Now, once you're back here in this kind of position, we're then going to sit back on the sit bones. And arriving on the sit bones, we'll stretch out the legs in front of us in a V shape. In breath, arms out in front. Breathing in, palms will float up. And out breath, we'll take the arms over to the right hand side again. Again, feel that sense of lifting something on this right palm. Arms up, over to the left. Arriving back to center line, one more in breath, look up. And out breath, the spine will float forward with the arms connected. Now at some point, the arms will kind of take over and they'll come to rest on the floor in front of you. Let go of the weight of the arms now, the weight of the body. Letting your breath settle. And in breath, sliding the hands back up. Coming down onto your spine now. And we'll hug the knees to start with into the chest. From here, arriving in happy baby, do you catch hold of the outer edges of the feet, else the back of the thighs? coming around the outside of the thighs. And then taking the thighs apart from one another, toes will be turned up towards the ceiling. Bit of bend through the elbows. Give yourself one more round of breath there. Then we'll bring the soles of the feet together and we'll take the knees in towards the center line. Now drop the feet down to the mat. And once they arrived, hands come into the belly, and we'll take the knees out to either sides into butterfly, lying down. Hands resting on the belly for 1 or 2 more rounds of breath. And then we'll open the palms out to either sides of the body. Take your knees back in to the center line, stretching out each leg in turn. And your arms can come up and over the head behind you. Now you're stretched out to the full length of the body here. We're now going to take the feet over to the bottom right corner of your mat. So both feet together to the bottom right. And both arms up to the top right as well of the mat. So you're creating an arch-like shape through the entire length of the body. Now we'll take arms over to the top left and then the feet over to the bottom left of the mat. Take your arms down now, bringing both knees into the chest. And arms can come out to either sides of the body. Now, just listen in a minute. We'll stretch out the right leg now. The left knee is still into the chest. Now place your left foot on the right thigh, either to the sides of the left thigh. So place your left foot on the right thigh or just to the side of the right leg. You're now going to take your right hand over to the left knee and roll over, taking the left knee over to the right hand side. Once you're there, you can open up the right arm again and you can turn your gaze towards the left shoulder. Rolling back to the center line. And stretch out your left leg now. And we'll bring the right knee in to the chest. You'll then position it either on the right foot, either on the left thigh, or just to the side of the left leg. Left hand comes over to the right knee. And you're rolling over, taking that knee over to the left, and your gaze towards the right shoulder. And right knee coming over. Now, before you come into Shavasana, you may just want to hug your knees a little bit to the chest. Maybe take the knees in circles. Do whatever you need to do here. And then when you're ready to, feet dropping down to the floor, legs stretching out, and arms coming to the sides of the body, palms facing up. And allowing your body to settle and yourself relaxing, filling up in the stillness of the body. If you'd like to rest in a longer Shavasana, then do carry on doing so. But if you are moving within the hour this morning and starting to bring some movement into your fingers, your toes, and on an in-breath, we'll stretch the arms up over the head. And then breathing out, take the breath from the mouth as you bring your arms back down again. And from here, you then bend knees and roll over to the side of the body for a few rounds of breath. And you can then find your way up into sitting. And arriving in sitting, take a comfortable seat now. Hands can rest in the lap or on the knees. allowing your eyes to shut. Feeling the quietness of a body. And finding your breath within this. And a few moments to sense within the breath, to sense balance within the breath. As if when you breathe, you're lifting up equally through both sides of the body. As if the breath were flowing down equally into both lungs. As if the breath were expanding outwards within you in all directions, in equal directions. Filling up as much to the front of the chest as behind you. As much to the sides of the body as deep inside you, in the very center of the lungs. As you feel the balance in the body, the symmetry in the body, an imperfect symmetry. Allowing your breath, your energy to flow into that balance. Reconnecting those parts of you that may feel out of balance back into this whole picture, whole awareness. And hands coming up to the heart. And as you take the head down towards hands and heart, bringing into this place of balance whatever intention is helpful to you. And this, bowing forwards and closing your practice. Thank you very much.